After that very polarizing segment on last night's SmackDown, we've arrived at Night of Champions from Saudi Arabia. Kind of a newsworthy show in many ways, and I didn't think it would be. I actually thought it was going to be a pretty by-the-number show, but a lot of things happened on this show to progress the storylines, and there were a lot of seeds that were planted for later. So this show, I think, historically is probably going to be looked at fondly in the sense of, I think a lot of what's going to happen in the next few months was already sort of, I guess, maybe foreshadowed or teased on this show. So I think we're going to go back later on in the year and maybe even next year and point to this show where things changed. So I want to go through the show. To me, it was a good show. These are the typical, 5 hour or 5 match, although it was 6 on this show. I think it was 6. Maybe I miscounted. Matches, pay-per-views, but at least to make them good, at least each match was given a good amount of time and they delivered. So if you're going to have like a 5 or a 6 match pay-per-view, they need to deliver. And actually, they all did. Wasn't perfect though, and I'm going to go through that with you. So the show opened up with Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. For some reason on this show, they decided to show the entrances and have almost the entire theme song playing. Probably because they knew the crowd was going to sing along. And that's exactly what happened. So Randy Orton was just in the ring there waiting for his music to end while the crowd sang it. And this happened with other wrestlers too. So the crowd is, I think, going to be a big factor too. Just like with Backlash France and the Clash show in at the Castle, all these international WWE shows, the crowd is really into it and part of the show. This was like that too. I recognized some of the chants, and it was kind of funny how they were chanting all the stuff that Americans chant, like "This is awesome" and "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks." But they chanted it faster. It was almost like they were ahead. It was almost like the tempo was turned up. Like I'm watching the show on 1.25 speed, which I wasn't, but it feels like that, right? So Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton had a babyface versus babyface match. I will say that it seemed like for the majority of this show, or this match, Randy Orton may have been cheered a little bit more. And there was some again, what did I tell you? There was foreshadowing in this show all over the place. So this is not going to be the last time these two meet. Last year, there was a time where Randy Orton was supposed to go heel and wrestle Cody for the title, and it didn't happen. It did not happen. But I think that's going to happen at some point. I think eventually, maybe he won't turn heel, but eventually Randy and Cody are going to wrestle for the title. I think they have that feud in their back pocket. A lot of history between them, of course, with legacy and, Randy kind of elevating Cody way back in the day. So the match was good as far as the in-ring. It delivered. One specific segment I wanted to talk about, or not segment, but one specific part of the match was they teased Randy Orton going for the punt. Cody was set up for it. He was there. And Randy was at first not going to do it. And then he said, screw it, and went for it. But Cody got out of the way. So the fact that Randy was going to punt Cody, who they're friends. I mean, they were enemies before, but they're friends. And he wound up saying, screw it, I'm going to punt him. That could be something they go back to in the future. But the crowd wanted to see the punt. I mean, they knew what was coming, and they probably thought they were going to get something special. And I guess they did. But what ended up happening was, at one point, Randy Orton undid the top turnbuckle in the corner. He was going to smash Cody's head into it. Very heel move. Cody reversed it, tried to do it to him back. That didn't happen. So Randy gets Irish whipped into that corner at one point, and either his shoulder or his ribs, part of his side, hit the exposed turnbuckle, which is like a little piece of metal that holds the ropes together. I mean, it does look like it would hurt if you hit it. And Randy kind of stumbled back and got hit with a crossroads, and Cody won. And then after the match, Cody was putting over Randy Orton strong in the post-match promo, and it felt very... Look, I'm going to do a whole video about a Cody Rhodes heel turn because it's coming. It's going to happen sooner than later, and it might not be the right time, but it will be sooner than later, and I'm going to go over whether or not it's a good idea or how they should do it if they do it. But I feel personally that the Cody promo, he was almost hamming it up a bit too much when it comes to Randy. But Cody winning the King of the Ring means he will be wrestling John Cena at SummerSlam in the WrestleMania rematch. I think he's going to take the title. We'll talk more about that, though, later, maybe in a different video. But this was a good match to open the show. And also, I want to add that they did do a phenomenal job with the promo packages on this show. And even on the pre-show, they were showing little packages of what the King of the Ring has meant for certain wrestlers. They showed guys like Xavier Woods and like the modern King of the Ring. But I'm more of a fan of the original King of the Ring where you had multiple matches in one night. Because that was all about endurance. You know, the Bret Hart years, the Owen Hart years. You know, I grew up with that pay-per-view. They talked about Steve Austin. So that's good that they're kind of telling the fans why King of the Ring is, you know, a big deal. They should have just called this show King of the Ring. Because if you remember Night of Champions, the original gimmick behind that pay-per-view is that every title would be on the line. And that's not the case here because, A, WWE does not do 12 match pay-per-views or even like 7 match pay-per-views except for WrestleMania and probably SummerSlam. They don't have enough time, and unless they do 2 nights. And B, they have too many titles. And I've done videos about the fact that WWE, AEW, and New Japan have way too many championships, and it's just not going to happen. So the next match is, it was called like the Riyadh Boulevard Street Fight. Rhea Ripley against Raquel Rodriguez. This match, the build-up to this has actually been pretty long. It just hasn't been the main focus. Raquel Rodriguez has history with Rhea Ripley, and she became like Liv Morgan's heater, like Liv Morgan's bodyguard, and on multiple occasions screwed over Rhea Ripley. This was the blow-off to the match. I will say this. This match was very, very brutal. They pulled out a kendo stick, and it was like colored differently, and I thought it was weird. But this is the match where you saw the tables. This is where you saw a lot of the gimmicks. It was really centered in this match. And what ended up happening, like, is Roxanne Perez came out for a little bit because she's obviously going to be replacing Liv as far as being like the representative of the tag titles. But so what happened was Ripley won with a top rope riptide. They put a table up there for balance. And so this was a very good match. Very, very good. I don't think, like, the crowd was into the Ripley entrance, but I don't know if they were really into her. But either way, this is going to push Ripley into a new feud because the women's pay-per-view is coming up and she's probably going to be a big part of it. So there you go. Now, Sami Zayn Karrion Kross was interesting because I cannot remember the last time Karrion Kross was in a match on a PLE. I cannot even imagine or remember that. When I saw this match was booked, it was done obviously to give Sami a win on this card because obviously he's Muslim and they're in a Muslim country. So Sami's like their boy. He's like their, he's like their religious hero, so to speak. It's like a home field advantage. Sami's from Canada. He's not from Saudi Arabia. But because he's Muslim, it feels to them like he's their guy. Now, the thing that I will tell you that really surprised me is how much offense they gave Karrion Kross. Like, Karrion Kross at one point was really dominating Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn did a great job doing the Ricky Morton babyface in peril. Not as good as Ricky Morton, of course, but good enough. But I was surprised because Karrion got a lot of offense. And I knew he was going to lose, but he's now sliding into that like internet favorite category alongside Truth, and even prior to these guys, Matt Cardona / Zack Ryder was in that group. Obviously, Daniel Bryan, of course, CM Punk. It seems like Kross is going into that. And the big finish was that Sami, pretty much after getting beaten up a lot, Sami just sprung up out of nowhere and hit this quick haluva kick and got the pin with that. It was almost like a flash pin. So we'll see where they go with him next. I do genuinely wonder. Well, I have an idea. Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu, obviously they fell apart. This was the match. I was not looking forward to this going in because, honestly, man, Solo Sikoa does nothing for me. Like, of all the Bloodline guys, I find him to be the least interesting. But this section of the Bloodline story is now continuing. I think it needs Roman Reigns. I think it was better when the Usos were there. But it feels like the Bloodline is basically going to have a rotating roster of guys because Jacob Fatu was the fourth man and he got replaced by JC Mateo. Well, in this match, more happened. So Tanga Loa came in and made his surprise. Haven't seen him in a while. I think it was, War Games the last time we saw him. So he came out to attack a Fatu. And he hit the springboard moonsault. And then when that was about to happen, the referee got distracted by the Bloodline. And then Hikuleo came out. So Hikuleo has debuted. I think they messed up his name, though. The commentary, it was weird. It was almost like Michael Cole called him Tangaloa, even though, or maybe he said Tangaloa's brother. I don't remember, but Hikuleo made his debut, finally. Chokeslammed Jacob Fatu through the announce desk, then threw him in the ring. Solo hit the big spike and got the 1-2-3. Is it too soon for Jacob to drop the title? I'm going to say no, because I expected Solo to win because the storyline has to continue. And if Jacob beats Solo, that would pretty much put an end to it. You know, it was like when Roman beat him, earlier this year. Like, when that happens, you're pretty much done. But in this case, it's not. Now, I don't know if they're going to bring back other Bloodline guys to help out against Solo's Bloodline, like, the Usos or whatever. Jimmy and Jacob over on SmackDown, they've been teasing something with those two. So that could end up being a thing. But the Bloodline now has 5 members. You've got Solo at the top, Tama Tonga, Tangaloa, JC Mateo, and Hikuleo. So that is what we have on SmackDown when it comes to a big stable. I wonder if they're going to feud with like the Wyatt Six at some point. That could work. Jade, Cargill, and Asuka. This match was put together specifically because Asuka's a great worker and she could get the best out of Jade Cargill. Cargill, again, a little sloppy, but she is improving. This is why the company needs house shows. This is why them cutting down house shows might be better for the veteran talent, for sure, without question. But the younger, more green talent needs the house shows to practice their craft multiple times a week. I'm sure that Jade goes to the Performance Center and practices, but it's not the same as practicing in front of a crowd of actual fans. You know what I'm saying? So, but it wasn't bad. Now, Asuka was mostly in control, and then, again, Cargill just scrambled up after getting hit with the Asuka, or getting put in the Asuka lock. she just out of nowhere hit the implant buster or jaded out or whatever it's called. Jaded, I think it's called. And won the tournament. And so I think what they're going to do is they're going to have Jade defeat Tiffany for the title at SummerSlam. And then I think at that point, Naomi can cash in. And then now Jade will be chasing Naomi. And so that feud can continue. And by that point, Bianca Belair might be back in there and be involved. So, again, very predictable. I knew they were going to give it to Jade. Asuka's a credible opponent to beat because she is the Empress of Tomorrow. And she is a great worker and very well respected. So Jade beating her made sense, and that's why she was fed to her. John Cena versus CM Punk. Man, first of all, I felt like this match, going into it, you cannot expect this to be on the level of the matches they had in 2011, 2012, 2013. I went into this expecting this match to be a slow-mo version, and in some ways it is, but I kind of enjoyed it quite a bit. Like this, like thinking back, this may have been, you know what? I think the Randy Orton match with Cena might have been the best title defense, but this one's probably up there. But it wasn't anywhere near the quality of the stuff they used to do, but there was still a lot of good stuff, a lot of creative stuff. Also, why is it that every time that Cena would go for the 5-knuckle shuffle, Punk would kick him in the head? They did that spot in the old days. They did it here. Every one of their matches has that same spot. But then again, every Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat match has Flair doing the flip, flop, and fly. So I guess that's just, it's wrestling. What do you want me to tell you? But the story of this match is the absolute insanity that was the final section of the match. There was a lot of interference. I mean a lot. Way more. Including from people that I wasn't expecting to be involved in this story. But part of me did think that Seth would fuck Punk over. And that is what happened. So, if I remember correctly, there's a ref bump. They're trading finishers or whatever. There's a ref bump. There's no one to take the count. Even though Punk seemingly has him beat with a GTS. Seth Rollins comes out. And he comes to the ring. And he's with Braun Breaker. He's with Bronson Reed. So they go out and Seth Rollins gets in the ring. And he's trying to get a referee to help him. Because he wants to cash in, right? And then what happens is Seth almost hits. So, okay. So, Seth Rollins called a ref out. Then Charles Robinson runs out, Little Nate. This was meant to mirror the WrestleMania 24 moment where there was a ref bump during the Edge Undertaker main event and Charles Robinson ran from all the way to the back, all the way into the ring. And it was a very long ramp. It was a stadium show. This was meant to kind of mirror that, right? So as that is happening, right, John Cena clocks Charles Robinson with the freaking pounce, bro. He hit him with the same pounce that Monty Brown used to use. But I know that Cena tries to be safe. And I'm not saying he's not, but this looked like he rocked this guy. I mean, he hit him. So Cena screws over Rollins. Now, at this point, I'm already thinking that they are sowing the seeds for the John Cena face turn. I think all of these characters being involved is going to lead to the Cena face turn. It's coming. I mean, it is coming. So, what ends up happening is Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker and then Seth, they jump John Cena. Like they're straight up beating him up 2-on-1. And I'm like, wait a minute, like, is this the Cena turn? I'll talk more about it in a minute, but they were beating him up and the crowd didn't like it. There was sympathy. And then Penta's music hit. And he runs to the ring and brawls with Braun Breaker because they're feuding. And then Sami Zayn's music was hit. And then he tried to get a piece of them. So while all this is going on, right, Bronson Reed's about to avalanche Punk. Punk knocks him off. And then Cena hits him with an attitude adjustment. And so he's taken out. And then Cena and Punk are in the middle of the ring because they worked together to get rid of Seth's guys. Punk holds his hand out to shake Cena's hand. Cena actually shakes it. Then Cena, they zoom in on Cena's face, and it's the exact same one he had in Elimination Chamber when he turned on Cody. So he goes for the low blow. So Cena has not turned yet, but I'll get to what I think in a minute. Punk grabbed the foot. He blocked it. And then what happened is Punk was going to go for the GTS, but then Rollins came in with the briefcase and clocked Punk right in the head. Cena then takes out Rollins and then covers Punk and gets the 1, 2, 3. A lot of stuff happened here. This match, I enjoyed it quite a bit. It may have actually been better than the Orton match. I got to think about that because the Orton match, I had problems with that match too. But I kind of liked this match, and the interference actually helped. The interference, I think, helped make the match bigger. So we've got clearly two different factions here. We've got Punk and maybe Roman if he comes back. Sami and Penta feuding with Seth, Bronson Reed, and Braun Breaker. Then you've got Cena kind of in the middle of all this, and who knows where Roman's going to be. But they definitely were sowing the seeds here for a Cena face turn, and it could end up happening at the hands of Seth's guys. I think there's also a possibility that they could do a double turn at SummerSlam with Cody. I want to do a separate video about this double turn, but there is a way they could execute this. Without question, Cena will become a face by the end of this run. We just don't know what matches he's going to have and against who. But we do know he's going to be facing Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. And it's going to be interesting to see what the crowd thinks about that one. How they react. Because it is the Northeast. And the Northeast has a lot of smart wrestling fans. And I don't know what's going to happen, but they may turn on Cody. Or they may make Cody the biggest star ever. Either way, there was a lot of seeds that were planted here for the future. Randy Orton second guessing. Oh, I forgot one other thing. There was a part in the match where Cena was going to hit Punk with the title belt, and he put it down, making the same mistake that Cody made. So again, once again, I repeat to you, this is setting up Cena's face turn. It was not complete tonight. They're taking their time with it. But I think Cena's going to eventually go babyface. Now, was this the plan the entire time? I don't know. It could be, or it could be that WWE noticed that this Cena heel run is not working and is now trying to sort of pivot, there's that word again, into possibly turning Cena back babyface. But there's going to have to be a lot of things that happen. But I want to talk about that in a separate video. Overall, very newsworthy show. Very newsworthy. I enjoyed the show for what it was. I say go ahead and watch it if you didn't. I'm hoping that you did, because otherwise I spoiled the whole show for you. But I think it's a thumbs up show. I really did like it. And we have a couple months before SummerSlam. Well, not a couple months, but like 6 weeks before SummerSlam. And we've got Saturday night's main event in 2 weeks, plus All In, plus the Evolution show. I'm going to try and watch all of those. We'll see. But it's quite a bit of content. Either way, I do think this was a very important show. And this is the beginning of the tide turning for John Cena's final run. So anyways, what'd you think? Let me know in the comments. See you next time.